The goal of this podcast is to help you break in and thrive in advertising. And we do that every single week by sharing the stories and advice of those rocking it on the other side. This any episode is really great for anybody trying to find their first job, or if you're a mid-level professional looking to break through and find that next promotion. And for the marketing professionals out there, if you're ever looking to find your next agency to work with, you can audit them here. This episode is very special. We have Marla Kaplowitz, who is the CEO of the 4A's, American Association of Advertising Agencies. Love this stuff. Love Marla. And I love nerding out about agencies and what separates them, how they market themselves. And just talking about agencies is really fun to me. I've been doing it for the past 5 years. The 4A's is a trade association. So they support ad agencies in the U.S. by providing resources, training, research, advocacy to help agencies and their teams succeed and grow. But just a little note, they help other entities besides ad agencies, marketing agencies, business transformation companies. So she'll talk about that. She'll also talk about her career journey, the role of the 4A's in supporting advertising professionals. That's you. How the 4A's can help you, and advice for breaking in and thriving in this industry, all the trends and opportunities for the aspiring advertising talent, all here. I'll tease out that she talks about real advice on finding mentors and sponsors and how taking risks and embracing opportunities can accelerate your career growth. She's somebody you're going to want to listen to. Listen to this episode 2, 3, 4 times maybe, and then connect with her because she's got a lot of connections, a lot. So good person to know. Now on with the show. This is the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast. And as usual, I'm your accomplice, Gino Schellenberger. Kick it, Mikey. All right, Marla Kaplowitz, welcome to the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Gino. It's so great to be here. Thank you again for including me.
Of course. Excited to talk with you. Excited to talk about the 4A's, your advice for the next generation of advertising professionals. Probably advice for anybody that's in advertising will be applicable here. How's that sound, though? Pretty loose format on this show.
Sounds great. Just you and I having a conversation.
That's right. So, Marla, you've had an amazing career. Today, you are the CEO of the 4A's. Real quick, high level, what's the 4A's? What's it all about? Tell us about it.
The 4A's is the trade association that supports agencies in the U.S. So we stand for the American Association of Advertising Agencies, but the reality is our members do so much more than advertising, business transformation and marketing, and our role is to help add value, empower their success, and to move the industry forward. And we have an incredible team that helps do that every single day.
Right. So you're helping out these agencies, but then the people within the agencies and their careers as well. It seems like you have so many resources that you're offering. It's so beneficial.
I'm so glad that you brought that up because we have resources regardless of what type of agency you're at, what area you're in, whether you're in new business, HR, you're business leadership. We have different courses and training. We have research offerings. We have survey data. We have ways to help in any way we can, not just to help you professionally, but to help you personally grow in your career.
Yes. Love that. It's helping people in the industry. That's what we're about. That's what you're about. That's why this is going to be an amazing episode. So Marla, your career, it's an amazing career. I believe you started out at an agency, DMB&B. Is that correct?
That is correct. And you had to say that slowly because it no longer exists. You're going to see a track record throughout my career of these names don't exist or the names get changed to something else. Gotcha. But it was acquired by Publicis and got morphed into the Publicis agency, which now is Leo.
Right. That's a recent merge that just happened. So did they combine all their creative agencies under the name Leo?
They took
right?
Publicis and then they took Leo Burnett and put those together.
Put them together. And then there was some stir. I saw that on social, on LinkedIn's, like the Leo Burnett quote, like take my name when you take my name off the door. I think that I'm from Chicago.
Right.
So Leo Burnett was always the one agency that people recognize outside of the sphere of advertising professionals. Like my parents, like family members, they knew Leo Burnett. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Los Angeles, so we didn't have
Mhm.
any particular advertising agency or professional that was well known because it was such an entertainment driven town.
Right. Yeah, it's all encompassing there. But you got your TBWA Chiat Day over there. That's a great
That
one.
is true. And that was after I left and went to New York that it really took off. But
Okay.
yes, you're absolutely right.
Right. Got it. Got it. So, anyways, so you started off at D, M, B, and B. And I guess the question is like, what were some of those key moments that shaped your path? And like any all encompassing advice that we can kind of start off as a thesis for young professionals looking to grow in this industry?
Yeah, I think the most important thing, regardless of where you start or what role you're taking on, is to be curious. I think curiosity is the most important trait you can have in this business. Wondering why, trying to figure it out, ask questions, and to be really hungry. I was incredibly passionate and ambitious and just wanted to learn and grow. And I very early on identified the people that could teach me the most. So I could see that I wanted to get rotated to work for, I was an assistant media planner, to work for a planner who was probably the smartest person on the floor and would teach me the most. I knew she was tough, but I also recognized that I would learn a lot. And I think that people need to think about not just the short term, but what are you really trying to do with your career and who's going to help teach you and support you along the way.
I like that. Yeah. Identify the smartest person that you think is in the room, latch onto them. And also, you did it strategically. Like, did you think at that time, starting off in media planning, did you think that was the right like career trajectory for you? And did you strategically find that mentor to help you progress through that vision?
I did. I was one of the few people at the time that really wanted media. There were many people in my training program, and DMB&B had one of the, if not the best training programs in the business, especially for media, that wanted to go account management. But I was very focused on media, and I was really fortunate. Once I became a media planner, I worked for an amazing woman named Liz Menges, who I still now am in touch with, which is fantastic. But you have to find the people that believe in you, that support you, and that are going to teach you. But we talk a lot about mentors versus sponsors. You need that person who's going to speak up for you when you're not in the room and who is
Mhm.
going to advocate on your behalf.
Yeah. So the sponsor would remind me because I've heard this before, but this sponsor is somebody that's in your organization. Is that correct? That
Yes, and
might be
they're
able to
more
actually.
senior and they're looking out for you when you are not there to advocate on your own behalf.
And then you would be a mentor to me. We're not in the same organization, but you can offer loads of advice and
Absolutely.
help me out if I have any questions. It's also good to go to somebody outside the organization if you want to really let loose and really scream or let your passions and your frustrations out. The mentor is a safe space for that. Won't tell, and you don't have to worry about too much there.
And hopefully a more objective point of view too.
Mhm. That's right. That's a good point. That's a really good point. So that's love that. So who was your mentor early on?
So it was this woman, Liz, was definitely my mentor. But I also realized that we often try to put labels on relationships to say, oh, you're my mentor or I'm your mentee. And the reality is, we have these dynamics and you learn from everyone that you work with. And I realized later on in my career that one of my clients was a mentor to me. She had kids that were older than my kids. Like, I was just in that stage where I was having my second child, and I learned so much from her around not just work, but how to manage work life integration and how to deal with some of the challenges in the business place.
This is interesting because you wouldn't, you know, on paper, like the client relationship should be different in theory. You should probably separate some of those personal things, but not in this case because it was an authentic relationship.
Well, I do believe that the beauty of our business is it is so relationship driven and focused on communication and connection. And what makes a good partnership for any agency and client is the relationship. It's that candor in the communication and the ability to partner together, but also to disagree. And I believe the same holds true in a mentor-mentee relationship.
Yeah.
Again, whether it's formal or not, sometimes it's better when it's not formal and you just realize over time that that's the dynamic that has occurred. I've had situations where I've started out with someone where we've never called it that, but it's pretty obvious just based on the difference in terms of number of years of experience that that's what it is. And then it's morphed into a really close friendship, which is also wonderful.
Totally. Totally. I have a couple of those. They're fantastic. I never say it to the person, will you be my
Right.
mentor?
Right.
It's just how it shapes up. But it's good to know on the back end, like identifying like, okay, this is a mentor like figure in my brain. That's really helpful and a good goal for people that don't have that to look for those. So that's fantastic. I want to ask now about the 4A's and the mission and explaining what the 4A's does a little bit more granular and like
Okay.
really getting into how you all are supporting aspiring advertising professionals, or are there resources that they can tap into? What are your thoughts on the 4A's to helping people out there?
Yeah, it's so important that we really help people right when they're coming into the business. So, one of the things that we've done is we've developed a course called Agency Fundamentals to really just help people understand what is this agency world? What is the situation that I've gotten myself into? That's free for members. And it's something that we're already seeing members take into their onboarding experience so that people get a real breadth of understanding of the business and what they're going to be experiencing. But then there's so many other different types of offerings we have, whether it's through MAPE, which is internships. We have other offerings like Vanguard for mid to senior level professionals. We have training programs for managers, and some of those are media fundamentals. Some is about how do you become a better coach to the team that you have. And there's just a nice array of different content. But then we're also trying to support younger people in whatever research they need. So we can tap into our research team. And especially if you're working on a new business pitch and you need a lot of information in a short period of time, you can tap into that team pretty readily. And one of the things that we did last year was we created this guide for emerging leaders to say, here's the best way for you at your level to access the 4A's and to get the most out of it. And here's what's going to resonate most for you. We also have events. Many of our events are free, not just paid events. So we're trying to educate as much as we can and keep it open, whether it's through webinars or events like our Decisions Conference this year, taking place February 12th in Atlanta, and then March 25th in Minneapolis. I hope I got that date right.
We'll double check that. But yeah, so much stuff here. I know very well, like I've heard of amazing people and like amazing things about the MAPE program, which is what it offers an internship to college students.
Yes.
It's like phenomenal, right?
It's a fantastic program. There's a deep dive intensive in the spring, and then they have their summer long internship. And then we finish that off with our Face of Talent experience. And these are people that just go on to have really successful careers in this business. We have over 4,500 alumni, and the program's been around for over 50 years.
Oh, I remember my peers in undergrad working really hard on that application. Like that was a
Yes.
big thing. It's like MAPE applications are due. I can't do anything. Like I'm all in on this. Like we took it very seriously at University of Illinois.
That's
Like
good to hear.
we had a really like good professor, Steve Hall, that like kind of like looked over the applications. And I remember seeing him. He's like, we got MAPE applications. I can't help you out, Like, sorry. I'm like, okay, hey, no worries. But love that. So all these resources, where can they is the 4A's website the best place
Yes,
to like?
please come to our website because we have just launched a brand new website in experience as of 2 weeks ago. So 4as.org. You are going to see a completely different experience. If you are one of our member agencies and you sign in under your name, you'll get your own bespoke member hub. And over time, you'll really get content that's really customized to your need, your department, and your areas of interest.
You got rid of the apostrophe.
We
Is that
got
true?
rid of the apostrophe as
Gone.
part of the rebrand. That was grammatically incorrect,
Was
but
it? I'm the worst person to ask for that, but it's gone,
yes,
and
we've made a
it
lot of
looks
people
great.
happy. We had a mini social campaign called Bye Bye Apostrophe.
I saw that. I saw that, and it looks really clean. I was like, that's fun. It got my attention. Really, kind of
Good,
drawing to that one specific change really opened up my eyes to the full rebrand.
good.
So I don't know if that was a strategy or it's
I'll
just
tell Ann Rubin. She gets all the credit. She and Rupa Ruman, who work on her team. That's terrific.
yeah. It's a smart approach. Like point at the small thing, and then the full picture, like aperture, opens up. So that was cool. Um, Also, so you're so ingrained with the industry. You're leading like a very large trade organization here. So I get your emails, you're in the news, you're talking with agency professionals. I just want to go over what are the trends that advertising professionals, those young ones or people that are looking to break into this industry, what should they know about? Like, is it the AI? Is it independence versus large? These are some of the recurring themes that we talk about on the show. But what do you think they should be thinking about these aspiring advertising professionals?
I think they should be curious and they should be reading as much as they can, connecting with people that they know in the business so that they can learn more about it. If they're already out of school, that they're finding their way to connect. I think there's so many different ways to learn. And in terms of what they should learn about, I mean, AI is sort of an evergreen topic for everyone, regardless of what industry you're in right now. And that's both from an automation side as well as Gen AI and thinking about the possibilities that are there. Everyone should be leaning into that and figuring out how to learn and grow and use the technology and play around with the tools. But then there's always so much happening in our business, which is what makes it so exciting. We continue to see the growth of creators and influencers and the dynamic pace that that's moving. And then you've got retail media networks, you've got decision maker marketing. I think it's a really exciting time to see just the continued proliferation and growth and shifts that are happening. And every 5 years, you can think back to, wow, that didn't exist a few years ago, but now it's become so prevalent and so much the focus of what we're doing. And to me, being in an agency is such an exciting place to learn and grow because of the entrepreneurial spirit, because you get a lot of responsibility at a very young age. You don't get that in really large companies. And the beauty, I think, of going to a large organization or midsize or small is you get those opportunities and those exposures. And I think it's worth really leaning into that and recognizing that that is special and different. And that's why I always say be hungry and take on new challenges and responsibilities and really lean into asking for more and telling people what you are hoping to gain out of that experience.
That's true. That's very true. And you can create your own opportunities at an ad agency. That's why I love it. Like if you have an idea, and actually most
Yes,
likely if you have a good idea, they're going to look at you and say, "Great, now go figure it out." And
that
then
is correct.
you're forced to do, and that's what's beautiful about it. You don't have to wait for a brief to come in. Like if you have a proactive idea, you can talk around with your internal ACD or your creative director or your group creative director, and you can share that proactive idea. If they like it, they will probably workshop it and they can go right to the client and will try to sell it. It's very entrepreneurial, as you're saying.
Yeah. I really appreciate people who identify problems that we didn't even know existed and find ways to make things better.
Totally. Totally. It is a great industry to start off. I think that's why I usually tell people if you like advertising and you like, this industry, I think it's a really good starting point. Like get yourself into an agency and then might be able to go to brand side or you might be able to go start your own company like I did. Do you kind
Or
of
stay with an agency and keep growing and
forever?
take on a leadership role like I did. So you never
Exactly.
know.
Exactly. What were some of those things like for those that do decide to stay and you've seen a lot of leaders, what are some of those recurring patterns or characteristics or skills that you see in those people that are in agencies for 10 plus years?
They are willing to learn. They're open to possibilities, to take on challenges that maybe no one else wants to take on. And I think they really just have a keen understanding of where things are going and what they need to do to stay on top of it. So there's a lot of information coming at us every day. I think it's so critical to be curious and stay on top of it, to be culturally fluent, to understand the shifting dynamics. But back to what I said earlier, figure out who the people are in the agency that are those up and comers and attach yourself to them. They're going to help take you with them.
That's right. I love it. So if you were to talk to a Marla, a version of Marla today that's breaking in 2025, what would you tell Marla breaking into advertising today? Like to fast track, to get promotions faster, to be more successful? What's that advice you would tell Marla today?
I would say learn as much as you can. Make sure that you're getting a breadth of experience. Don't worry about the first or second or third client that you're working on. Don't say, oh, I really want to work on adult beverages and I don't want to do financial services. Just be open to whatever the category or the client is. I have a niece who's a copywriter at Ogilvy, and she worked on a very tough client, a very challenging client to begin with. And I told her it was going to be great experience and she would get through it and she would learn a lot, and she really has. And so just don't ever be defeatist about your situation. Really look at what can you learn, how can you grow. And I have always felt that regardless of who I worked for or what account I was on, I always wanted to look at what am I going to learn from this situation and what are the things I'm going to take with me as I continue to grow and evolve, both as a leader, but also as just a team member. And I think that that is so important. Sometimes people focus on the agency where you think you're going to get the greatest opportunities. I always believe you should focus on opportunity over money. I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but the money will come if you focus on the experience and building out your resume and your portfolio to really get the kind of learning and connections that you need.
I love that you bring that up. It is a large conundrum that everybody thinks about in this industry when they're just starting out. Do I take the opportunity that has more money? Do I chase the money? Or do I go to the location that I can actually make really good work? And the best answer every single time is chase the opportunity, like you said. I have countless stories and one-on-one conversations about this, and it's tempting. It's tempting when there's those offers that might, you know, it might require you to shift a little bit. Maybe you won't be working in an ad agency, but I try to steer everybody to the good work and the good people.
And it's hard when you live in an expensive city. It really is. And I have such an understanding of that because I did it and I know what that was like. And there were many times where you think, I'll just take the easy route. But I just could see very clearly that I was in a place where I was growing and that I had more value in that agency because people knew me and they saw what I was capable of and that I could continue to grow there.
Totally. Absolutely. I love that. For agencies, I want to shift this now to like agencies. And from your experience, what makes an agency stand out in the industry today? And how can aspiring advertising professionals identify the best places to start their careers? I know I looked at the A-list by Ad Age, Agency of the Year winners on like Campaign and Ad Week. Is that the right way to go, or like just pick those? Like what do you actually recommend for people?
I really believe you have to find the right culture fit for you and where you're going to be a real addition. And you really can sense that when you walk into an agency, what that culture is like, where you believe that you belong. But I don't think that every agency knows how to really brand themselves or stand out and really
Yeah.
express that differentiation. It is one of the interesting things that agencies do it so well for their clients, but not always the best for themselves.
Yeah.
I do also see media agencies tend to be commoditized often, which I don't think is fair because they are different, but they tend to be that way. But creative agencies tend to have a greater opportunity to differentiate because you can see the work, or a PR agency. It's much more tangible,
Hmm.
and you have to figure out your personality, what you're interested in, and where it might align. But again, early on, just go where you have the opportunity and learn and evolve, because I know many people who've gotten into this business somewhat by a fluke and have ended up loving it and sticking with it, or maybe they had a different agency that was their top agency that they wanted to go work for. And again, top in their mind based on their own set of criteria. And that didn't work out. And they went somewhere else. And then they realized, oh no, this was the better fit for me. This is the right experience and the right people. Because it really does come down to the people. I believe agencies are about people, product, and clients, and I put it in that order. So focus on the people, think about the work, and then think about the clients, but start with the people and the opportunities of what you're going to get. And also look at where the agencies are making investment in terms of training and bringing you along. I was attracted to DMB&B and honestly Ogilvy at the time because they had great training programs, and I
Yeah.
thought that was going to give me a leg up and an advantage. But in the same way that you want an agency to stand out, you have to figure out how you can stand out too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like, I love this tracking their investment, and especially in those early talent programs. Ogilvy still is leading the charge, I feel like, with that in their immersion associate program. Edelman, for me, had a rotational program. I wanted to get into that because you're basically an intern for a year with a salary. Unfortunately, 2020 pandemic hit, but that changed the course. But that's fine because that's just how the world worked then. But that's a really good piece of advice. It's just, I think that's what they need to hear. People need to hear because they get so stressed out. And how can they really tell the culture if they can't show up and they're not
Right.
working there? So they find out when they walk in. That's why we created this show. Listen to the
Yes.
founders, listen to the people that you're going to be working with, or connect, and then have those calls with those like creative directors that we've interviewed or you've networked with. Get a little feel about them, and the people is so important, and see their work, not just at that specific agency, but in their portfolio. What have they made historically? What's their style? What, ask them fun questions like, what's your favorite late night talk show host? All that is stuff that I think can help. So I appreciate you sharing that.
I agree. That is good advice too.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anything else that we need to know about you or your advice for the next generation, maybe mid level professionals, how to thrive in this industry that we didn't cover, Marla?
I would say to be open to the possibilities and take risks. So I am somewhat of a planner, and I like to try and plot out like, here's what I'm going to study. Here's what my career. I thought I was going to be a lawyer. I got to college with like the entire course load for the 4 years planned out. And then first quarter, I don't think I want to be a lawyer. I want to do something in communications, advertising, marketing. So that changed very quickly. And throughout my career, I have seen different opportunities come up that I never would have expected. Like this current job, when I was first approached, I was like, "Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I'm looking for something new, but I don't know if that's it." And then I saw the job description, and the first criteria was dynamic change agent. And I've always been attractive to opportunities that are about change and driving growth. And so I started to do research and got very intrigued. And I'm so thrilled that I've had this privilege because it truly has been. So just be open. And I wish I had taken more risk earlier on in my career. I could have gone abroad to work and I didn't do that. And I
Mm.
wish that I had done that. So just be open and try not to map out too far in the future because you never know. And never say never.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm the same way. I love to plan and want to know everything that's going on, but then went out on a whim, took a chance to do this full time, and it seems like, we were both able to like try different things. And I think that's a really good advice for those type A people out there. Listen to
Yes.
that. And then you got
And
your
look at
type B
this. Look where
people.
you are now, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's so fun. But like I always am envious of the people that are type B and like not to I don't know if that's the right terminology, but like they're like chill, nothing bothers them. They can, they forgot their phone at home. Could you imagine? I could never forget my phone at home. But there are some people I know. Maybe they're not in advertising, but I'm so envious of them.
I understand that. You just want to shut your brain down a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yes, yes. Amazing. How can people connect with you, follow you along, learn more about the 4A's? What's the best way for our
Yeah,
friends?
connect with me on LinkedIn, definitely. And to learn more about the 4A's, like I said, go to our website, 4as.org, and there's just a plethora of information there, depending upon what you're looking for. And if you are at a member agency, you will go in and sign in with your work email and have access to a lot of the gated content as well.
Yeah. I wonder, is there anything out there like for the aspiring like student? Like, is there like a potential membership they can have or
We
something
don't
down the
have
line?
that. We have some memberships with some universities, but that's
Hmm,
pretty small. It's really more so being able to access whatever free content we have on our
gotcha.
site, which is a lot, and then hopefully getting that opportunity to get that job and then
For
get access to more.
for sure. So look when you're looking for agencies and make sure they're in the 4A's.
Yes, absolutely. We have a pretty robust list. There you go. You
Yeah.
can do a search. We have something called agency search. So if you know by area or type and you're looking for a list of agencies and want to understand, you can go onto our site and go into the agency search tool and get a lot of information.
Wonderful. Well, Marla, that's all I got. Thank you so much for coming on, sharing
Thank
your
you.
advice. I'm so excited that we got to take this time.
Me too. Thanks again, Gino.
All right. Take care.